Welcome back, everybody, to Cracked Wide Open video number 3. You guys know I'm Star Delta 9. This video will be under lipstick on my teeth. No. This video will be underneath Cracked Wide Open. If you want to watch it, please do. If you don't, then you don't have to watch. This week I want to talk a little bit about the difference between ego and your higher self. I also want to say that I'm putting these videos up as I take this journey, and therefore all of my information might not be 100% correct, but it is how I am perceiving it. So let me pull up chat here. Can you guys hear me okay? I hope so. Let me pull up chat. Can I see chat on there? Hi, Jagger. Hi, David. How are you? Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to pull up chat on here, too. It makes it easier for me to see. Sorry about the noise. How you guys doing? I hope you're having a great hump day. Now, remember this, like I said, this is me going through my spiritual journey. So all my information might not be the way that everyone is seeing it, that's speaking about it on the internet, but this is the way that I'm perceiving it. So welcome to yet another video. Still got volume. Now I got no volume. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference between your ego and self. There's some key differences in my opinion, and they're completely different terms depending on what definition you follow. Much love to you, Pastor. Much love. Specifically, ego is just a human natural term, nature. It's human nature, really. It's not ego. But it justifies what it believes is to be right. While in religion and spirituality, it's different. It's considered an evil and diminishing in the human's true self, I believe there was their definition. So similarly, your self is concerned with the uniqueness or an individuality as a person, right? So I want to talk about 3 different aspects of it. And there's spirituality, there's Freud's definition, and there's religion. Ego and self are two totally different concepts, and they're highly debated in science as well as religion. And then Freud had his own definition. Hola to you. So according to Freud, it is a structural model of the psyche, the ego. It is organized. It's realistic part of your mind. It seeks to please the ID drive in realistic ways that will be beneficial to you in the long run, but bring about grief. In different terms like religion and spirituality, ego is considered to be the evil guy. If you talk about to anyone in religion or anybody that's in spirituality realm, they will say that evil is the evil guy, which tries to steer you in the wrong path. Well, there is a purpose for your ego, and I'm going to do another video on that. But the ego is what demands gratification and approval to me. So I'm going to define ego in 3 different ways: psychologically, spiritually, and religiously. And I just told you what Freud thought of it. I'll tell you a little more. Sometimes we have to be selfish, yes. And that's why when I read about religion and spirituality and they talk about ego, they refer to it as an evil thing, that it's something that we must banish from our life completely. And my question to you would be this: if we are supposed to not have any ego at all, why did divinity give it to us? Why do we have it? It serves its purpose. There are times when you need to be selfish. There are times when someone takes advantage of you and you need to stand your ground. That's not your ego speaking, that's standing up for yourself. If some people consider it ego, if they go way to the wayside of it and use it to harm others or themselves. So again, I'm going to reiterate as a disclaimer, ego and higher self, you're going to find many, many definitions, but I think that this is really good for me to put these videos up as I'm going through it, because there's some examples I can give you about bits and pieces that come together when you have a spiritual awakening. It's kind of like a puzzle, if you will. And you have this puzzle spread out in front of you, and you have all the pieces, but you don't know which piece goes to where. And some days you might get a couple pieces over here, and some days you might get a piece over here, and then this day you might not get anything. And then you have to begin to piece those things together. And our subconscious mind doesn't say abandonment, fear, it doesn't give us those emotions, it gives us symbols. And so a perfect example for me would be this. I kept seeing boxes, and I kept seeing bars in the sky, literally like a box, like someone had stuffed me in a box and closed the lid, and literally behind bars, like I had put myself in a mental box or prison. Okay, that's how strong our ego is. My ego would tell me, you're worthless. You're never going to amount to anything. No one's ever going to hear your voice. You're always going to be pushed to the side. You're never going to have any security or any money or any worth to you. That's your ego. That's all lies that you self-perpetuate to tell yourself due to the traumas or events that have occurred in your life that caused you to fragment that emotion. Okay, so when I talk about ego and your higher self, your ego is the one that's going to prevent you from getting to your higher self. Trust me. Trust me when I say this, because I'm hand to God. Okay, so in psychology, Sigmund Freud, he created a structural model, right, of the psyche, and he divided it into three parts. He said the ID, the ego, and the superego, right? And the ego is said to act according to the reality principle by which it seeks to please the ID's drive. Well, your ID drive is you. You are the one driving that ego. And it is often oblique, if you would say, maybe to cloak it. It's kind of like your unconscious mind. It commands the ID with its own pre-consciousness, if you will. It's like the pre-consciousness realization to conceal the ID's conflict within the reality. It's like you have a mental freaking struggle in your brain between your conscious and your subconscious mind, to profess to be taking notice of reality, even when the ID has remained rigid and unyielding. And when I say that, I mean the ego. The ego is strong. Is very, very strong. Okay, the ego is organized part of your personality that includes defenses. It's perceptual, intellectual, cognitive, it's executive functions initially, okay? That's what your ego does. Freud used the word ego to define yourself, but changed it later to refer to psyche's functions such as judgment, tolerance, what else? Judgment, tolerance, reality, control, planning, defense, like synthesis of information, intellectual functioning, and memory, right? In contrast to Freud's definition of when it comes to religion and spirituality, because they considered the ego, that was a negative term. You didn't speak about your ego in church. or in spirituality. Ego is considered to be a relationship with pride when you spoke of in religion aspect, in that realm, you know. So I really want to tell you that these are some of the things I'm experiencing. I'm going to do another video because I'm going through quite a bit this week, and I think it has to do with the astrology that's coming up. And I've noticed a really big shift last night. When I woke this morning, I noticed a huge shift in my psyche to where I feel like things are beginning to come together. I'm beginning to assimilate my higher self with my mind and my body, and I'm functioning on I am emotion, and then I think a thought, and that thought becomes an idea, and then my body is off and running. And so I'm no longer allowing my ego to tell my mind how I feel and react based on that emotion, because it's false belief. It's the same story I told you guys about how a baby that's born with all five senses begins to fragment the minute they're born, when the cord's cut and they're removed from their mother. Abandonment, fear, anxiety, worthlessness. They don't even know what those emotions are yet, but they're born with all five of them, and they've just been removed from their mother. So it's not by any fault of our own that we do this. It's things that we do through the course of our life, because shit happens to us, people. And the reason, and that's a really another really good video I'm going to put up and help to teach you guys, because me too, I'm not unique, I'm not special, I'm not anything other than you, a divine soul in oneness with God, sitting in my consciousness with divinity and acting as if. Okay? It's I'm no longer basing my actions in my world around people, places, and things that don't serve me. One, that don't allow me to be who I am, my authentic 100% self, right? And there are many different examples you can use, and I'm just going to use this one because it's kind of a across the board, and it won't insult anybody, I'm hoping, because it's not my intention, because I have no judgment, none whatsoever. When my mother was told me stories about how women, when they used to go to parties and they were dressed in their bustiers and their beautiful dresses, and they were the epitome of women, right? That she would tell me we weren't even allowed to have a normal sneeze when we were sitting. We'd have to, and she said, and to stuff your sneeze for 72 years begins to do something to your brain, begins to do something to your nose. She had sinus problems really bad, couldn't figure out why. And so I'm just trying to bring it up as a highlight of how we can fragment one tiny incident, just one, and think about how many you have in a day. Oodles of incidents, right? And the reason they come at you is to be able to discern them. I don't want this. Ooh, I like that. That makes me feel really good. This one on this hand makes me feel like shit. I'm judging. I'm procrastinating. I'm sabotaging. I'm angry. I'm fearful. I don't want to live like that, do you? Hell no. I don't want to live like that. I want to live right here, right now, where I'm at with oneness with God. And if it means I'm teaching this stuff, I'm teaching it. I'm teaching it to the best of my ability. So again, a disclaimer, I don't know everything. I just know what I'm going through, and what I'm being told, what I'm being shown, and what I'm being told to speak about. So, in Hinduism, which is a really beautiful religion, in Buddhism, ego is considered as a identity over identity, if you will. Okay, it's it is believed that the human believes that they must fight for itself, but it is aware of its unconsciousness on its true nature. Many traditions will seek to dissolve the ego, you know that, right? Allowing the person's true nature to come through. The term for that is called enlightenment, nirvana, presence, the here, the now, oneness, divine, divinity. That's what I'm in, the oneness. That's the person's true nature. Allow it to come forth. And as long as you have your ego in your way, do you think it's going to come forth? Because it's going to fight you the whole way. Let me ask you, did any of you guys do the little test I asked you guys to do? Step out of your normal realm in your morning routine just for one tiny thing and see how much your ego bucks you? Because it does. It will yell at you and scream at you, and it will tell you that you're supposed to be over there doing this. My ego wants to tell me, no, you don't need to teach this shit. You don't know shit. And it's powerful. It's powerful. And it's scary, yes, when you have a spiritual awakening and you're enlightened. It's scary. It's scary. And here's all I can say about this, and I'm being told by Divine this. It doesn't matter what I have to contribute to the collective as a whole and to the souls here on this 3D plane. Everybody's contribution to the collective as a whole and to themselves and to others can't be bad. Whether it's this much or the Grand Canyon, it doesn't matter. It is a different way of approaching things. We're in a new era of time. You know, there was the new souls that were awakened in the new age. That was 19 years ago. Do you think times have not changed since then? But if you go back to the basics of being enlightened, spiritual awakening, any of them that you want to call it, it is and I'm not laughing at you, I promise. It is free. Okay? It's free, and it's for you and 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 you. If you want it. If you want it. That's why there's free will. Let me look at that. Hello from Slav Cities. Hello. I currently taking the week fast in the gym because it's supercharging my flesh. Awesome. And that's another thing. You know, with the spiritual awakening, you know, if a spiritual awakening was easy, can I just pose a question to you? Why do we have so many sleepers? How many souls are sleeping? I've been around for a minute, and I cannot count. I can only use 2 fingers, 3 fingers, of 3 people I know that had a spiritual awakening and are living it in oneness with God. Because you can have one, my friend, and totally disregard it. It's called free will. That's your right. So, you know, they enjoy sleeping. Let them sleep. Love them. Nurture them. That's what you need to do. Because they're not ready to wake. They don't know, and they don't know they don't know. I have a video coming for you guys. I might even do it today. I'm not sure. I'm going to talk about the fundamental questions of life, and I have 4 of them. organ. So let me go back. Similar to ego, now we talked a little bit about how the term that we talked about, how when a person's true nature comes forth, that is the term of enlightenment. That's nirvana. That's presence. That's divinity. That's God. Okay? I've put up a video under Cracked Wide Open, some of the things that will perpetuate an awakening, some of the things that will bring on a spiritual awakening. So go and look at those if you want to know. But similar to your ego, yourself also has different definitions, right? Yourself is basically an individual person. I'm looking at my notes, as the object of his or her own reflective consciousness. Okay? So self is under the constant debate, and the various different studies are being conducted on it really by a lot of philosophers and psychologists in terms of philosophy. The self is descriptive of how or what a person exactly is, right? It is the qualities that make a person or an individual unique. So how many times have you guys seen this? I've seen it. I'll use my example because it's one that I have that's very relevant in the medical field. If a patient hit my trauma bay and they were bleeding and an ER nurse didn't have time to garb up, she would say, I'm not putting my hands on that patient. What if he has AIDS? What does AIDS mean? Yes, if a patient has full-blown AIDS and they're dying and they are in it and they're dying, you can tell. But if a patient comes in bleeding, how do you know? We don't. And you as a nurse, you know when your alarm goes off over there on your radio, you know you have an ETA to carve up to. And if you can't make that ETA, how dare you take another soul and treat them poorly and allow them to overhear you say something like that? They may not even have had AIDS, yet they're going to have their feelings hurt. They're going to be already scared because they're on my trauma bay and they are already injured. So they are unsure of their condition. So that's a perfect example how you can instill one thing out of your own ego and vanity, and you can impose that on another individual. Some do it deliberate, and some do it not even knowing it. And I've done it. I'm not guilty of it. I'm guilty just like everyone else, but I did not know what I was doing. I know not what I do. And when I believed that, when I read that in the Bible, but I never knew what the fuck it meant. You know, when you know better, you do better, but you don't treat somebody like that. Now that person's going to have some issues with that. They're going to say everyone thinks I have that. Just, I'm sure you can think of your own. The self is considered, as the source of consciousness, the thing that's responsible for the individual thoughts and actions of his nature, that he very much displays, or his or her displays. It's based on your individual thoughts. You behave and act the way you do based on your individual thoughts, not anybody else's. And is your thought right? Is it true? Is it true? Or is it something that you believe to be true? It's a distinct difference between the subjective knower, and me, right? The object that is known. Self is considered to play an integral part of the human motivation, cognitive effects, and social identity. Ask any one of your kids that are going to school. Ask them what their social identity looks like when they are maybe not as pretty as the most popular girl in class, and they're dogging her on Facebook. Tell me how your IE and ego and your daughter is doing. She's going to fragment that stuff, and she's going to tell herself she's not pretty enough. No boys are ever going to date her. She's not worthy enough, no matter what her daddy tells her. Her daddy can tell her she's a diamond in the rough, and she's not going to believe him, because people that walk around in society are not just affected by our immediate family. We're affected by the mailman, the people that deliver packages, the school teacher, the college professors, the grocery store clerk, the banker, your fucking pets, your vet, your coworkers, your boss. So when I mention one example, think for a second your day. And how many times throughout your day did somebody slip you a dig or really light your shit up to where you were mad? And then when that happens, I know for me, I never stopped to say, why is that making me so upset? Why is what that person is saying that doesn't know me making my blood boil? Because it's an emotion that I've had from a trauma in my life, and it's mirroring me, and I'm seeing it, and it's pissing me off. I don't like the way it looks. But if you're not being truthful about that, because every I can't get this across. I don't know how I'm going to get this across. Think about this. The self is considered as the source of consciousness. Your higher self. That is the source of consciousness. Right here's your higher self, and right there is God. Right there is God, okay? The ego, that is down here, okay? The thing that is responsible for an individual's thoughts, actions of his or her nature. That's your ego. You know, you're only thinking those thoughts from a trauma that you had in your life. You know, self is considered to play an intricate part of that in human motivation, cognitive, affects, and social identity. When you're growing up, your parents are socially identifying you to death. Sit up in the restaurant, eat your food right, make sure you wipe your mouth, don't put your elbows on the table. You know, you can't have a friend over after a certain time. I mean, the list can go on and on and on and on and on and on, right? I, as a subject, I'm the knower. And me, the object, that's the known. I knew that I wasn't to have family or friends over at a certain time. I knew. When you learn that knowledge becomes truth, and you live that truth. Did I ever stop to ask my parents why? Why can't I have a friend here after this time? Or, you know, have you ever stopped to ask a person, why are you so mad? Because when you ask them, they can't answer. They don't know. They don't. Hey. In terms of religion and spirituality, self is considered as a connection of one's own consciousness. Do you know that? And the higher being, or God. It's the little voice that steers the actions day to day, telling us what to do and what not to do. Self is divided among two different things, ego and one's true self. And if you are running on ego, you're not running on your true self. Ego is considered superficial or learned. It's learned to me. While true self, that's something you're unaware of. That's why it scares the living shit out of you. And that's why it's so exciting. And that's why you're like getting ready to get ready, because it's fucking exciting. You're running your brain on an emotion you felt in your gut that drove a thought. And that thought was like, oh shit, now I have an idea. And once you had the idea, your body was off and gone. You didn't have to think twice about it. But how many times have you said, I don't want to go there today. Maybe we just kick back. Breakfast in bed, lay around. Once in a while is fine, but when you become a routine, a normal routine, you are sitting there, your ego is literally sitting there denying your higher self that feel good feeling, that excitement, that emotion that should be driving us. You shouldn't be driven or driven by your ego. It's really not true. Hi, Sarah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for stopping in and strolling through. You know that your ego is superficial, right? But I'm going to tell you, when you think of the word superficial, you just think on the surface, right? You get awakened, you have a spiritual awakening. I know two things for sure. Get ready to be uncomfortable, because you're going to be. And there's no two ways around it. And it's going to be as uncomfortable and as crappy as you allow it to be. Because every single answer, every single piece to the puzzle that I'm talking to you about, right here, I just can't find them. I can't find them because I have ingrained a superficial ego and learned a fucking behavior on it that created knowledge, and that knowledge became truth, and that truth I began to live by. And that drove me. That's not higher self, that's ego. It's ego. Consider looking at self by eliminating ego, which results in a person's, finally viewing their true selves, if you will. When you have a spiritual awakening, your ego falls to the wayside. You don't have one. You don't have one. You have one. Trust me, it's still there, and it does have purpose, just like I told you before. But there's a difference between you and your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. It's like a fucking battle. It's like a battle. Do you want vanilla? No, I want chocolate. Do you want vanilla? No, I want chocolate. Do you want vanilla? No, I want chocolate. It's like, shut up. Why can't I pick the ice cream I want based on the flavor that I think my gut wants? And if I want strawberry, I'm going to think strawberry, and I'm going to think strawberry pie, and I'm going to be gone. I don't even want ice cream. You know what I'm saying? That's how simple it is. But the inner work, the shadow work, the yin, the yang, the dark, the good, the bad, the ugly, the fucking happy, the sad, all the things in our life that come at us, they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason. They're there so that you know, okay, so that you know what you want and what you don't want. Self and ego are completely different terms depending on the definitions that you follow. Scientifically, ego is just a human nature. It's not evil. It's not evil. But it justifies like a mofo when it believes it's right. While religion and spirituality, it's considered as evil, and it's diminishing the human self's truth. Similarly, self is considered a uniqueness or an individuality of a person's. I wouldn't say it that way. Maybe I would say it's considered evil in religion and spirituality, and it's diminishing to your higher self. And that's the same thing that would be similar if you were considering your uniqueness or your individuality as a person scientifically. If you were comparing yourself scientifically, the definitions would match. However, spirituality is an individual's one true self and your connection to God. And religion, sorry to say, religion plays a lot into spirituality if you are a religious person as well as a spiritual person. And now religion has its place. Religion is definitely has its place where, people go to church, they find solace. I find solace when I go to church. But you guys have to remember that. Do you ever ask yourself what the fundamental question of life is? I think I've been asking myself that question for all my life. And I don't think I've quite answered it the way I have recently answered it for this video. And this is a really difficult journey for me. And I think that it would be a difficult journey for anybody based on the fact that we used our ego and our vanity to function in the 3D plane, no matter how good or how bad it was. And it doesn't make us wrong and it doesn't make us right. It just makes us uneducated. And when we know better, we do better. I know you've probably said just as much as I've said to somebody, oh, that's just your ego talking, or that's just your vanity. Stop looking in the mirror. Who cares if you have wrinkles or what, you've lived some life. It doesn't matter. You're just speaking from vanity. Because when you're in oneness with God, some of the things you're going to learn, first off, is that there is no suffering. There is no judgment. God doesn't say, when you get better, come to me. Divine says, come to me as you are. If you say, I'm going to stay over here and I've had a spiritual awakening, I can feel divine, I know there's a higher self, you kind of fall in my category where I say, but you just forgot. For whatever reason. And so my job is to remind you of your higher self. Some walk around and they don't know because they just don't know. They're like kids. They're like babies. They're like infants. Love them. Nurture them. There are some that don't know, and want to know. Teach them. Show them. There are some that know, they just know, and that's the cognizant. That's, you just know, And that's it. There's no question. You don't need to look it up. You don't need to have anybody stamp it with the seal of approval that it's validated. The cognizant, just know. And so many things will begin to fit into that puzzle that I'm talking to you about. You will pick a piece up and you'll go, oh, that's where that piece was. Shoot, that's where that damn memory was. I can't remember that. I was speaking to someone, and I'm going to use my own examples because I don't want to insult anyone, and I don't care who knows. I have no judgment. And those that are judging me, shame on you. I remember from the age of, I might have my age mixed up just a tad, but I want to say between the ages of 8 and 14. Okay? And I'm having difficulty recalling some stuff in my shadow work between those ages. And it has to do with fear, abandonment, and me not being heard or seen and kind of being tossed to the side, So when I was between 10 and I don't know, I don't even know the exact age I was when I began doing this, but I began running away from home. And when I say running away from home, I'm talking 50, 60 times, okay? And would be gone 2, 3 weeks at a time where my parents didn't know if I was dead or alive, to the point where I was made a ward of the court, okay? And I recall doing my shadow work. My father was a gentleman who didn't pass the second grade. He had to go to work. He was Indian, worked on a reservation, didn't go to school. Everything he learned, reading and writing, and everything he did was self-taught. Very intelligent man, made a great living, took care of his family. Was he an individual soul that might have been messed up? Probably, just like the rest of us. That's his heart. But I remember when he said to me the last time, Billy, I'm not going to come looking for you again. You go, I'm not looking. And I knew when he said it, he meant it. And my mom said, what are you running from? Didn't know then what I was running from. And as I just got that in a little bit of a piece, of my spiritual awakening. Then the next piece I got was my dad sitting in a counselor's office, my mom sitting in there, and I'm in between them. She's sniveling like a 3-year-old with her tissue, and my dad is yelling up a storm, telling the counselor that his family doesn't need counseling. He knows how to raise his children, and he storms out of the counselor's office. Now, not only do I still not know what the hell I'm running from and why I'm so scared, but now I have fear and guilt because now I have disrupted my whole family. My mom's crying. My dad's leaving the room, slamming the door to the therapist, and I didn't say a word to the therapist. I shut my shit down. Do you think that you don't do that? And that's just one example. One example. Okay? So when you do the shadow work and you ask yourself, or you're not even doing shadow work, let's not even say that. Let's just say you walk into a room and you are in a great, great mood. Okay? You're ready to have a drink, just put your hair down, enjoy yourself, and spend some social time with friends, right? And someone walks by and they say hello and they make a comment to you, and that comment lights you up. You want to beat their ever loving butt. Do you stop 5 seconds and say, why did that piss me off so badly? Because I guarantee you, it ain't the person that walked in your path. It's not the thing that the person said to you, what they were wearing, or what they look like. It is going to be a memory in your learned subconscious ego behavior, and you behave that way. Once you have a learned behavior, comes truth, and you begin to live that truth. So he could have possibly not done a goddamn thing to you, and was probably more the case. And it's something within you. Because everything that we do mirrors us. Mirrors us. Use abundance, money, abundance for an example. If you respect money and you honor money and you treat it as such, and you believe emotionally, physically, and mentally with your whole being and body, and you base it on an emotion that money is energy, it's beautiful, you have gratitude for it, it is money's energy, it flows. It just flows to you. I don't know how it happens, but it's called the law of attraction. Okay? And people say, I don't want to work the same job for 20 years and be on the hamster wheel from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Okay? But if you ask that person, what have you done to change that dynamic first? Have you started doing some inner work with yourself to find out why you're unable to save, or that you feel you have to live from paycheck to paycheck? Did you, when you were a child, have a limited money situation in your household by no accord of your own? It was just your family, your parents were on a budget, and that you possibly picked up false limiting beliefs about money from your parents. And so now you're just keep perpetuating that negativity out into the universe. What do you think you're going to get back? More of the same. I don't want to be in debt, but I'm going to bitch about it, moan about it, do nothing about it, play the violin, bitch to my friends, and tomorrow you're going to wake up broker than the next day, the day before. It's the way the universe works. Even when you look at your higher self, your higher self is here, your ego's down here, you have your mind, your body, and your soul. It's a constant revolution of evolution to learn, to grow, to use my mind and my body to express my emotions in this 3D plane, to ascend to a higher oneness with God, so that I am serving my soul's purpose and helping others to possibly serve theirs. Because I've asked myself this question. During meditation, I've said to God, you know, if this is it, then what is it that you want me to know? What is it? What is it? Because I must be missing something. And you know what Divine tells me? It isn't about you. You are here in this 3D plane to serve purpose. Do you know what that purpose is? Because it's not going out into the mall and ringing up your credit cards. It's not beating up your coworkers verbally because you got out of the wrong side of the bed today. That's not oneness. That's not living your true, authentic self. There isn't one thing in this universe that you could want, need, desire, or not have. Not one. Not one thing. What will stop us, including me, and I'm fighting this now, and that's why I think it's very imperative that I put these videos up for you guys while I'm going through this. I can do one of two things. I can hide in my new place that I'm staying, go back to thinking all the same old beliefs I was, and I can die inside until my physical body absolutely gives up and I die. Or I can take my oneness with God and I can grab it by the balls, if you will, and I can swing it around and I can have fun and joy and happiness and abundance. Abundance. When I say abundance, everything in life you want is there. Everything you want to know about why you behave the way you do, right here. Right here. And the reason that there's so much fight between the ego and the conscious mind is because the ego is strong, and you have lived and operated and functioned on that ego system, false limiting beliefs, lies you've told yourself or someone told you or made you feel, and you have fragmented that. And when you did that, you obtained that information. And you took that information and you put it in your brain and you molded it over. And when you slept at night, you sorted it and you fucking kept it. You didn't get rid of it. It kept it. And that information became knowledge and truth to you. And when that became truth to you in your brain, when you got up, you lived it. You lived it. And you have been living your life based on ego, pride, vanity, not wholeness. I'm guilty too. It is by no fault of our own. When I tell you, get ready, it's coming, get ready, it's coming. It doesn't matter if you have a spiritual awakening while you're still living in this physical body. If you do not find oneness with God in the physical body where you're at, you, I'm not 100% sure about this, but it's just what I'm being told. You're going to stay in limbo in this 3D realm, floating around, because they are billions and billions and billions of them, because they refuse to set their shit down and be one with God, divinity. I'm telling you, I did the same thing. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. And it's not a vanity thing. It's just something I've been raised by. A woman doesn't tell her age unless there's a reason for you to know it. And if it push came to shove, I would blurt it out in a heartbeat because I've earned every wrinkle, line, and thing I've learned. Wisdom. Everything I've learned, I've earned. It's not been through osmosis that I got this shit. You know what I'm saying? People learn what they learn in the 3D world for a reason. When someone lies to you, they're lying to you for a reason, because you are going to look at them and go, I don't really need someone in my life that's telling me fibs, lying to me. That is really ego. If you can't come to me and speak your mind, then you're not being your authentic self. Because if you're being your authentic self, you would be able to come to me and converse about anything, because I wouldn't judge you. There would be no judgment. I'm not any different than you or you or you or you or you. I'm not any more unique than any of you guys either. I'm just one that God chose to say, wake up, bitch. Wake up, bitch. We got work to do. Okay, I'm awake. But I'm telling you, I know how hard this is, because I could crawl back into my little sleeping bag and sit right here with my ego and tell you how badly everyone did me over. And that's why I am the way I am. And that would all be a lie. That would be a lie. And the human species, I know this for two reasons, because I've been a trauma nurse for 40 years, and now because I've had a spiritual awakening. The human species, we love to suffer. And we love to create our own suffering. We don't need anybody to do it for us. We do it all on our own. Have you ever asked your friends, I've asked my friend before, why do you keep dating the same men? If that man is not emotionally, spiritually, physically, in every way possible available to you, why would you lay down with him? That's a tough question, but I'm sure many people out here in the community, in the universe, have many situations that they can bring to mind when they ask a friend, why do you keep doing that? What is it that propels you to do that? And you try to shake them. You try to, but again, there are some that do not know they don't. There are some that don't want to know. They like being asleep. It is serving them for whatever reason, you know. But if you look at anything that has to do with evolution, animals, plants, species, it's all evolved over time, right? Do you think the human species is any different? We're evolving. This is no longer going to be a 3D plane. It's going to 5D. And if you haven't seen the energy that's moving through the universe and the air, and just go outside. Just go outside. And if you're not on board, you're going to get left behind. And I don't want any man left behind because this, my friend, is free. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything but a little hard work on your part. And in the long run, you will be so happy you did the things that you held on to for so long. You will be like, why did I hang on to that? Some things you won't even know where you got them from. You won't even know why you feel that way. Some things are just not meant to be. And I'm going to do some other videos because I'm going to try to correlate this together because there's something to do with it. And Divine is telling me, and it's not quite sorted in my mind yet, but I'm working on it because I don't think I have all my pieces yet either. I still think I'm missing a couple pieces, you know? But I am a nurse, a trauma nurse, a 40-year trauma nurse, and I'm the one, I was chosen. I don't think that that's a coincidence, okay? I don't think the nursing wisdom and knowledge that I have within me and the awakening are coincidence. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm not saying I'm special because I'm a nurse. That's not what I'm saying. There's some correlation between the two. Because I talk about emotional centers in your body. I talk about tapping. I talk about meridians. I talk about opening up energy pathways. You know, I want to do some videos on tapping to where you can just test it for a week without doing anything else but a 3-minute, 5-minute exercise and see what I'm referring to. And then you can make a decision on whether you want to continue doing that or not, you know. But our body has meridians and we have energy, and energy flows through us just like this evolution that I keep telling you about species. Humans are a species, we're a species. We're just like animals, we're just like plants. You know, we're going to evolve. Okay. So you really need to, I don't even know where my trainer, I'm like, my mind is spinning because this is how boggled this one topic is in my brain because I'm still trying to sort it out. You guys know I do other divinations. You know I do tarot cards. You know I'm psychic. You know, so you would know by just knowing that information that I am familiar with the chakras in the system. Okay. If you say chakras on this hand, and people are not into spirituality or esoteric, they get a little uptight about it and they don't particularly care for that word and they shut down and they don't listen. If I say the things I was trained in nursing, emotional centers that run through your body, meridians that are energy pathways that open up pathways for that energy to flow in and out freely to. It's kind of like, you know, this cap on this coffee cup. If I didn't, you know, turn the lid, there wouldn't be any suction there to get the coffee out when I drank it. It would just stay in the cup. It's the same thing. You have emotional centers within your body that start at your base, at the root of at your sacral chakra, right? That go right up to here. And there's more than 7. People think there's only 7. There's a whole lot more than 7. A whole lot more than 7. And a whole lot more chains on your DNA that are not even activated yet. So when these energy centers start to open up during an enlightenment, during a spiritual awakening, it's frightening. It's frightening. It's uncomfortable. because you haven't felt it for a long time, because you've been functioning on this side of your pituitary gland, not even this side, just the fight or flight syndrome. That's what you've been functioning on, the fight or flight. You haven't been functioning on the other hormones. When you start to talk about the other hormones and the DMT that's released, and you like a, and you rocking, and that cinnamon bun is in the middle of your chest, and that energy starts creeping up your body where it hasn't been for a minute, you will. I literally beat my chest because I thought I had a fucking alien in it. And I said, oh shit, what is that? Okay. I literally told someone that it feels like this is the wall and they're ripping the inside up in my insides. It is energy. And if you think energy isn't powerful, just take a magnet and a paper clip and see what happens. Now remind yourself of universal energy and the speed in which it travels. And you, my friend, are 98% water. You ever see the study when they put two glasses together? In one glass, they give it beautiful positive energy and the beautiful snowflakes that water creates due to energy literally creates an individual snowflake all on its own. And the one in this cup they did with the negative was this deformed, ugly, gross looking thing that you've ever seen in your life. That, my friends, is what negative energy does to you. I'm going to put videos up on how negative energy and this kind of behavior causes a in our body, and that this causes disease. People that are Reiki practitioners, spiritual healers, enlightened, take a look at their skin. Ask them if they have tumors or pain, or if they're like me and just knew me into this. I'm healing things that I thought I would have for my entire life. Allergies, where I literally had to take a nasal spray every day and a nasal and an allergy pill, like Zyrtec. Do you know, since my awakening, I haven't taken that once. And I can breathe like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I even said to myself, I can't believe I can take that big of a deep breath, and it feels bliss. So the negative energy, the negativeness, and the positive energy that we have flowing through the universe, that's why you can go in a room and you can say, God damn, I can feel it, the tension in here, I can cut it with a knife. It's negative energy. But you can also go into a room or be around a friend and you can go, oh man, I want to do that. I want to do that. And anybody, I'm telling you, this is what's this is what's so fucking bliss about this whole thing. It's free. It's free. It's free. It's free. And I know people say when you had a spiritual awakening, don't do any videos. Because some of the stuff you put up might not be really what it is or whatever. You know, and I'm here to say this. I appreciate anyone and everyone that has reached out to me and said, don't put a video up. I thought long and hard about it. And here's the one thing I know for verbatim. There is no judgment in oneness. If you've had a spiritual awakening, you will understand me to the core. Everything I've said. If you haven't, and you're one of those ones under the category I spoke about that just don't know, and they don't know, it will go completely over your head. And that's okay. That's okay. So my awakening, your awakening, someone else's awakening, it doesn't matter, is exactly that, theirs. Okay? And if I have something that I think that I'm being told by God or divine, however you want to identify it, to, then I'm going to do it because that is my soul purpose, my higher self. And I'm here to tell you when I'm speaking to you about this, I might not have it articulated as perfect as some of those spiritual teachers out there that have 10, 12 years on me, or even 19 years. And that's okay. It's okay. Because I don't have it all figured out yet. And I feel and am being told many need to hear your pain, your suffering, and the discomfort that you're going through. They want your knowledge, your wisdom, and what you're learning as well. They want to know, when is it going to happen? How long is it going to last? How am I going to get there? And what can I do to help myself get there? And if I can share this and it helps one person, I'm a happy camper. I'm a happy camper. I would have no complaints. I would have no complaints whatsoever. Not one. I would be doing it all day long. All day long. Every day. Because I know I'm living my soul's purpose. And when it feels like a warm cinnamon bun and love, and I am rocking back and forth, and my hormones are firing to where my veins are popping out of my neck like they are, and I am on a, I'm like a rocket wanting to take off to the moon. A couple things happen. You get a little excited and you try to articulate it, and it sometimes don't come out the way that you really wanted it to. But I'm going to tell you this, it doesn't matter how it comes out because there's no judgment in God's world, none whatsoever. So if you are awake, you know what I'm saying. And you know you're a cognizant. You just know, right? Hi, China. Hi, thank you guys for coming in. So, does anybody have any questions or anything? Because, there are a lot of beautiful spiritual teachers out there. Uh, a lot of spiritual teachers out there that'll tell you a whole lot of things. And I know a couple things through going through this is that I scrambled for information after information after information after information, and it really was kind of information that was placed after the event had taken place. So it was an aftermath video, and therefore it didn't really give me any solace because it's like, I'm in this, and I need to know what's happening when I'm in this, and I need to see your reactions. I need to, because your eyes are not going to lie to me. Your eyes are not going to lie to me, and your face is not going to lie to me. And you're going to not give two shits if your words do not come out the way that you think they should come out. Because I've never done this before. I don't know how my words are supposed to come out. The words come out the way God tells me. The way God shows me. See, Davy, that's your ego, Davy. That's your ego, Davy. It's just shorts. Nothing big. I don't care about the way I look. I don't care the way I look. I know I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful, beautiful soul inside and out. And I won't even use the phrase anymore, the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I don't believe that's to be true anymore. Beauty is within every one of us, every single one of us, and you all deserve to have oneness with God and divinity, and to learn and to assimilate to your higher purpose on earth. And if you have forgotten what that fundamental question is, ask yourself, who am I? And when you say, hi Bosh, good seeing you. When you say, I'm best blonde-haired, blue-eyed, grandma of 4, trauma nurse, I'm going to look at you and say, that's not who you are, honey. Tell me who you really are. Who I am? I am divinity. I am oneness with God, if I dare say that. Because God is right here with me. I sit at the right hand of God. When I look in my mirror and I see my auras, I am indigo, purple, baby, yellow, and green. And God is right here, snow white as a snowflake, sitting at the right of me. Big, baby, big, huge, massive, massive. And I am not moving. I mean that like within this realm. I'm not moving from this oneness. Will I move? Will I teach? I don't know. I want to. Will I speak? I want to. Because do you know how this information, how valuable this would be in seniors, ninth graders, eighth graders' hands? That is the future. That is our evolution. Your children's children are our evolution. And if you can teach them this, oh, baby, you want to talk about children of a millennium that would be just kicking ass and taking names? Your children, your children's children, those are our light workers. We're all light workers of God. We're all some type of light worker from God. Your purpose may not be a spiritual teacher. Your purpose may not be what my purpose is, but you have one. And your purpose is just as valid and just as important as every other enlightened soul within the universe. No one stands above you, below you, beside you. You are oneness with God. You are divinity. You just trying to be right. I hope you guys had a great day today. Happy, happy hump day. I will be doing the next video on, I'm going to do what's the fundamental question? I'm not going to speak anymore on that because it was a huge awakening moment for me this morning when I sat down and wrote that in a matter of like 5 minutes. It's 4 pages and I wrote it in 5 minutes. So when I tell you I'm not speaking, I'm dictating. I'm dictating what's being told to me, shown to me through symbols, through signs. And I'm telling you, get ready to get ready because it's coming. And if you think there isn't a lot of souls that have already been enlightened, you know I'm an astrologer as well, studying, trying to be a master at it, but not getting there very quickly. 144,000 souls were awakened during this spring equinox. 144,000. One person, then another, then another, then another, then another, right? And is that not what we're here for? To love one another, ascend, grow, and have abundance in every way possible? As God says, okay. Deep breathing. Are you over here with your ego, living through self-limiting belief, or are you living oneness with God? Only 2 on the road. Only 2 on the road. So you guys know the key differences now between yourself and ego, right? Do you have any questions? If you do, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. You can look up spirituality as far as religion You can look up ego in that. You can look it up in Hinduism. You can look it up in, you can look up Freud's definition, spirituality's definition. You know, ego, I'm going to do a video on that one for you guys as well, because there is a purpose for your ego. There is a purpose for your ego, but it's not to benefit and hurt others. The messiahs, the masses are blinded by the idiots. And this, I think this video that I put up next, I think will be a really good video, because it is it is a really good way to look at it. And I did not quite look at those questions that way before. And now that I have, it's a game changer for me. It's a game changer. You're welcome. You are amazing as well. Every single one of you guys are amazing. You know, just remember that in psychology, Sigmund Freud created a structure model. Remember that model, the psyche? Look it up. There are three main parts: your ID, your ego, and your superego. Which one are you running now? 1, 2, or are you up here? I want to be up here. I want to be up here. That's where I want to be. And it's a beautiful place where I'm sitting right now. And people would say, it's not a beautiful place. You know, you're going through some difficult things in your life. Mm-hmm. And those difficult things in my life, I manifested shit. Oh yeah, I did it. I did it. It's okay. I don't know how much water is too much water, but what I was told was to grab a gallon container, fill it up, and if you can finish it in a day, awesome. Fill it up again. I've only gotten through to the 1 gallon. I've only gotten through the gallon. I haven't gotten to the 2nd gallon yet. We're made up of 98.8% water, so you're just flushing out toxins in your system. When you have a spiritual awakening, or you do any type of spiritual awakening that you're trying to perpetuate or bring on, diet and exercise and meditation are going to be key modalities. You want to open up your pineal gland and decalcify that. And so I'll be doing some videos on that for you guys. But if you have questions that are not up yet, it's only because I'm going through the journey and I haven't quite assimilated everything. But you certainly can reach out to me at any time and ask me. And if I don't know, I'll go to my spiritual teacher and ask. Because I don't want to give false information. And I really think at this point, no information that you get during your journey or my journey that I get is false. It is my journey. It is my information. It's just in how I interpret it. And so just get ready. It's coming. Oh, it's showing. People keep telling me that. They're like, you're glowing, your face looks amazing, your skin looks amazing. I'm sleeping like I've never slept before. Never slept before. So I appreciate you guys stopping through. I'll be putting this one up pretty soon for you guys. I'm going to do a bread recipe for you guys and something else. I'm going to do the same. So, no, it's chamomile tea. The caffeine you can have, there's, everything in moderation. If you have, I know for me, I'm a big, huge coffee drinker, so I've had to literally cut it down. I still have my coffee. I'm not going to begrudge myself the luxury that God says I can have and enjoy, but because of my journey and what I'm trying to establish within my journey spiritual-wise, I've chosen to cut my caffeine down. And my diet is pretty much vegan. I don't eat meat. I eat pretty much, the more color in it, the better. The more color in it, the better. And so if you do have questions, just let me know. I'm always here to help you guys. I love you guys so, so much. You guys are all so nice. Namaste.